Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the FSL What Rift Open Playoffs Day number 1. Yep, we have day number 2 tomorrow, so do also catch us then for tomorrow as well. I mean, thus far we've seen, very cool game, very cool series from NSL going up against Space Gamer Caliax with a 2-1 series. VGM Ladies 2-0 against Pandora Infinity, and now we'll be watching Revive Me VIN's JIHOZ going up against Team Yakult, and you're joining me here, Jace, and also Gamernism.
Okay, you got it. You got it.
I was thinking organism. That's how I can pull that off.
Organism. All right. Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
we're looking forward to see how these ones play out. Tomorrow we get one more BO3 and then a best of 5 to wrap it all up. For now, we have the last BO3 of the day between these two teams. And the first thing that's kind of caught my attention right off the bat is that Revive chose red side. They won the coin toss and decide to play on the red team, which is interesting to me because I think a lot of the current meta has been requiring you to play towards the blue side. Blue side means you get to choose and dictate what the bans are going to be like. You get that first pick, that's so important first pick. Instead, they want 2 picks to kind of make up for that and get more power for themselves as well right off the bat.
Yeah, I really I had this small little debates with some of my friends, right? Is the first pick worth it? But if you go for the second pick, right, you get to pick 2. And these 2 could pair up very, very well depending on kind of strategy. Because if you go for first pick, you review way too much, cats out. You put too much cats out of the bag, that sort of idea. So I can kind of see the logic behind, them going for 2 picks right off the bat, but we gotta see what they have in store for us if the draft is coming out very, very soon. And every time when I say it, it just comes out. Thank you very much.
Oh my goodness, such names. Incredible. You're gonna have to put in some legwork here.
What, Barcode?
Barcode, yeah, we have Barcode, Genie Eek, Bunsi.
You studied Korean, so you have to say that.
Oh, fair enough. Well, they actually do the romanization, translation for us. So we don't really know what they are. It's just the barcode and the Chinese name, I guess. You know what? First things first, they already banned out a couple of interesting things. I mean, the Ziggs makes perfect sense. The VIN is a bit surprising to me, especially because the VIN has received a bit of a nerf going to this one. It might be a specific target ban against the opponent. I haven't been able to quite research into Revive, so I'm not quite sure if that's going to be the case. Instead, going for that Lucian first gives them a lot of power, especially if they want to try and play for something like the Braum afterwards as well. We saw this very popularized, especially by the Korean teams, right? Roaster Y like to play it a lot, so maybe this is a chance for them to try and execute something along a similar branch, but this has opened up the Galio set straight off for Revive.
Yep, I mean, if you think about this logic right here, right, Grandon, you pick blue, you pick 1 OP pick, but for Revive, they're like, you know what, I go second pick. Yes, I can give 1 pick over to the other side, but I get 2 OP picks. I think Galio and Set is going to do an amazing job going into against Yakult, but I like the response coming out from Team Yakult as well. All of the Ragnarok is going to be very, very important if you're going to march into and fight inside Galio's heroic entrance.
Sure, it actually does really well against both the Galio ult and the Set ultimate. In fact, it does really well against Camille too, so it's actually just like a win-win-win against all. The fact that Lulu has got across, Lulu has been a pretty consistent ban for a number of these teams. So they actually get to have the Lulu and play to boost up that Lucian. Depending on what they try and go for now, Revive actually have a number of options to try and maybe take this one down, because I like that they doubled down with Camille. You can't only just have Galio diving in back, right? That's not going to be enough of a threat. You get easily countered by the Polymorph, but now with multiple things jumping that Lucian, the Polymorph only can get 1. It's not going to be enough to stop them.
Yeah, I feel like we had this conversation, right? The Lulu and the Mumu, right? Do you want to polymorph 1 person, or do you want to polymorph? Not say polymorph. You want to stun down the whole entire team. But you can see the synergy coming out from this Lulu going up against Ragnarok. Ragnarok is just gonna Ragnarok. Olaf is gonna go in and Olaf smash, and then with the overgrowth, he's gonna allow this Olaf just bounce all the way up. But let's take a look at the bans coming out from Revive Me, VIN JIHOZ, Akali. Oh, yes. Sad for Akali getting banned away, the Orianna getting taken off as well, Yakult targeting on the Diana. I think both these 2 teams just trying to ban away, trying to limit the mid laners right now.
Yeah, because mid lane is realistically the only other thing still up that needs to be banned away, right? It's gonna be the mid lane and then maybe the Baron lane for Yakult. So we're gonna see Revive probably try and prioritize something else here. I think the Lux likely isn't gonna go support. Is it gonna be Nami Lux? Because Nami Lux could work. Similar idea as like Nami, as like Lux Seraphine. But personally, I would prefer they just went for something with a little bit of range, the ability to just kind of try and shove things out and try and have a winning matchup there.
Yep, now, Revive Me JIHOZ will be locking in the Corki instead. There doesn't seem like they're going to go for that double support. Well, AP mages at the bottom side right now, that needs more AD, they need more damaging power, so the Corki will come into play. Now, Renekton coming out from the side of Yakult, no surprises right here, is the one that leaked all the way throughout the picks right now. Renekton with very good kill pressure, but I don't know, going up against a set though.
Yeah, I mean, you just have all reliable, right? Renekton's gonna always be that pick that you can kind of count towards, be able to play. Pretty likely that you're gonna be able to pick it up, especially if the enemy team is gonna prioritize some different Baron laner. So I think you're right to say that you're not sure if this is gonna do well against the set. I don't think that's the case at all. But it doesn't mean that it's gonna do poorly against the set, and that might be enough for a win for them. Just being able to survive and hold on against the set is basically enough for a win for the Renekton, I think.
Yep, and I would say that, Set would definitely, I don't know why, like Set leaking all the way in. I feel like Set, I know I focus a lot about Set and Akali these days, but I just like Set in general. Very strong, very powerful, especially when she starts snowballing. Yes, the Renekton is technically like an all reliable for most of these teams, but I still favor the Set, maybe because he's new. But enough said, looks like we already sub up the drafts already. It's going to be a Twisted Fate going into the mid lane. Like those, I love myself some Twisted Fate, especially with Destiny, right? AoE, I can appear anywhere on the map, and then I can start playing side lanes around the late game part. But I think Revive Me JIHOZ does have Galio to kind of match the rotation from Twisted Fate.
I do think that the blue side draft is quite interesting. I don't quite feel like this is necessarily like the best in slot, but it does offer quite a bit of individual power. Overall, they kind of support each other in quite interesting ways. So you have the Lulu boosting up the Lucian, boosting up the Olaf. They should be able to dive in quite well. But I'm just thinking, like, what obvious target is there going to be for the Olaf to kind of run down? Because for the most part, the targets that are most vulnerable, ones like the Corki, like the Nami, even they have quite a decent opportunity to try and run away. Same feels like for the Galleon.
Yep, and with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into game number 1 between Yakult and Revive Me VIN JIHOZ, for the sake of, name long. So I'm just going to call them Team Revive for now. But it is going to be a 5-man mid. They're just going to bum rush and try to hold on against, Twisted Fate. Because Twisted Fate is not the best of champions, especially in earlier parts of games. Needs to snowball, needs to farm. But the Twisted Fate should be able to get there pretty easily and very, very quickly.
Being able to hit that level 5 mark is really important for the Twisted Fate, but I actually feel like the Twisted Fate pickup here only does a certain amount to kind of manage with what the Galio offers as well, with like that rope potential. But we've already seen a number of options that can do the same thing in slightly different ways, right? So of course the Galio, of course the Twisted Fate, you get the information with the Destiny and everything like that. But I felt like stuff like the Akshan, also offers a similar idea of what they want to try and go for, right? They want to be able to match the push from the Galio, and Akshan has great roaming potential across the map. That was a chance that could have been the case. Instead, they will play into the safer matchup. Twisted Fate, you can never really go wrong with it. So just going for that safe matchup, you're having the wave pick to match up against the Galleon and not get shoved in.
Yeah, a lot of old reliables coming out from Yakult, right? Twisted Fate, in my pocket, is like one of these mid laners that I like to play when I'm just a little bit too lazy. I don't want to play the Akali way too much, so I just go back and just playing Farming Simulator, that sort of idea. But I do love myself some Twisted Fate side pushes and those long range stunts once, the appropriate items get secured. However, top side, not a lot of aggression from both these two teams, just equally slowly, and I don't know which side it will be benefiting. I think both these two teams drafted really well in terms of what they need, all this kind of stuff. But it seems like there's a bit of a scuffle coming in. The hookshot will be able to allow this Camille to jump all the way. Burns some this early on from the side of Team Yakult.
Yeah, actually gets to take something away early on because of the way they were able to collapse in on the Camille who was trying to rotate through. So that's one of the benefits of trying to posture towards this side. You saw the Olaf start towards the bottom side, start rotating their way up, whereas the Camille full cleared the top side and tried to pick up the Scuttle Crab. So there's a bit of a trade there, but as a result, the Camille actually loses out on that Scuttle Crab, I believe. So both sides going over to Yakult, giving them a little bit of a gold advantage. I think that's where the bulk of this 300 gold lead's coming from right now. I was actually trying to figure out like what the Renekton's name was. I was like looking at it, I was like, what is this?
I feel like it's like Kalisto, but speaking about that, it's going to be an aggressive flash forward by our Barcode player, giving the first blood over to Yakult, and now this Renekton, this Crocodile is starting to, you know, grow some teeth.
Yeah, it's growing some teeth. And I think, what were you saying? You thought this name is what?
Kalisto, I think. My manager is horrible, you know.
Yeah, it's like Kalistin. But I was like, what is like the end part of it? Because it's like ...
No, I can't read anything after that.
It's like Pei or something like that. And it's like, Kalistin Pei is cute or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
I feel like we're going through a language class right here in this particular game. Let's pull all the way back into the game for consistency's sake. Let's just go with like the Renekton for now. But you know, both these two Yakult definitely should have the advantage, especially the top lane. The Renekton should scale even better as compared to this set right now because of that first particular kill. But looking at the timers from both these two teams, already hit all their level 5, so they are all equally good going into the neutral objective spawn.
Yeah, so being able to play into like the neutral objectives, I think is going to be quite important because both these team compositions have different ways to play that out, right? So the Olaf's going to be able to run you into the pit quite well, especially boosted by the Lulu and supported by some of the guys like the Twisted Fate and the Lucian, you know, just kind of acting as auxiliary damage. Whereas for Revive, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. They won't be able to get in initially if the Olaf is there, but then they have a lot of follow-up after, right? So like the big ultimates, they slam in with the set, they jump in with the Camille, with the Galio, you know, those opportunities to jump in present themselves, but only if the opponent is already there.
Yeah, and of course Olaf will just go all out smash, ignoring everyone, right? I can totally imagine a scene right now, you know, a Revive sending the tidal wave over and Olaf is like unfazed, and then somehow, you know, Set is channeling the ultimate. Maybe, I'm not too sure whether this works. It's an interesting interaction. Olaf could just tap on the Ragnarok and Set would just let him go in the middle of the flight. I don't know, man.
Yeah, basically that, right? And then actually trying to jump in for the engage there, but he catch off the Olaf. He's not the best target to go for.
Yeah, it is not the best target to go for, and as well, the first member to go down from the side of Yakult is the Olaf, no jungler anymore, so Yakult has to try to revive me all the way, but Nice Bubble will be able to just put Yakult all the way up. Very low health bars coming out from the side of Revive Me this time, no way to escape. So the chain stun coming out from Jisoo is so good.
Look at that, the amount of effort invested to take down the Olaf cost them all their spells, all their abilities, and they let Twisted Fate slip through to the backline, flashing onto Fuyu, taking down the Corki, and then still having the power to continue pressuring them back into lane. The re-engage, the catch off, Yakult will come up 4 kills ahead there. Revive only picking up the 1 Olaf.
Yeah, just so much investment all going down to the drain just to try to invest into this Olaf. And Team Revive just going to focus on the Rift Herald instead. Yakult focusing on that Drake. I really like this all reliable team coming out from the side of Yakult, man. Like, I really have a lot of respect for Twisted Fate players. There's so much patience. You need to know when to use engage. And the chain CC coming out from the cold card it's a very low effort point and click stun.
It's a pretty low effort point and click stun, and being able to get this tempo advantage now with this Rift Herald, transferring that aggression into the top side, breaking open that turret, you know, the Renekton is going to have a bit of a tougher time, despite having such reliable utility, you know. And one of the big things that comes with also having the Renekton stun is that you can pair it up very well with a lot of damage. So guys like Lee Sin, Kha'Zix, stuff like that does really well with Renekton because of how well you're able to play the 2v2 matchup. But when you're playing with the Olaf, you can assist him quite a bit, but the damage is a little different, so it's not as effective in that same way. So you could play it out as a 2v2 matchup, or you could play it as a 1v1 matchup. You know, there's no like clear necessity to do either, which I do enjoy about the flexibility of the draft.
Yeah, it's just, Well, speaking about the flexibility of the draft, right? There's just so many stuns coming out from Yakult, Team Yakult. Revive me, they have to be careful. They cannot get chain CC lockdown. Yes, even though you don't get stunned by the Twisted Fate or even the Renekton, right? The Undertow coming out from the Olaf is like a perma slow, and it's so hard, tough to deal with. The Corki is probably forced to burn the package just to dash away. You need very strong and reliable disengaging tool. Hopefully the Nami will be able to use that, and hopefully the Galio will be able to do so.
Destiny used, but not the second charge, and they weren't looking to try and jump back in. The fight could have continued, but they instead see an opportunity to keep pushing the bomb side because they didn't respond fast enough. I say that, but PGSU decides not to keep shoving in that wave. Backs off, rotating somewhere else. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically power of the Twisted Fate, right? I could just TP to any point on the map, start to force it all the way in, but I feel like the Twisted Fate just walks in, try to land down the ward, which is kind of vital because you don't really have the destiny to escape anymore, just in case if the members of Revive just try to zone all the way in. But that also relieves some pressure elsewhere from the map for the side of Team Yakult. So Yakult playing more of a macro game this time as compared to, you know, Revive me, trying to look for these clashes instead.
And it makes sense, right? I mean, Revive just have a very easy team fighting composition. They get to jump in on you if you give them that space to do that. Whereas with Yakult, I mean, they get to do the counter engage. They get to walk in on you when you're... So both sides really would enjoy if the enemy team was already in a position and they get to collapse in on them. Both want similar things. It's going to be difficult for the teams to get what they want because, you know, you can really only have one team in position first.
Yep. One team to set up the base camp, you know, putting up what the Vivwag, that sort of idea, I think, because never built one before in my whole life. But in a sense though, Pijusu, you had the gold card right now, is going to be a stun going in for the Camille, nowhere to run for the poor little Twisted Fate will fall. Nice engage coming out from Revive. They're going to try to continue on top of Chibi. The bubble would not be able to connect, but the damage has been done. Yakult focusing elsewhere on the top side instead.
It is a turret back for that kill, so not the worst thing in the world. Yakult will continue to hold on to an advantage in terms of this. Olaf gets caught out.
Olaf gets caught out as well, and here comes a Crocodile jumping into the midst of the fight. Will be able to rescue the Barcode player as well. Now Lulu jumping in, set with the ultimate, tried to slams the Crocodile all the way into the enemy's face, but he's the one that gets slammed to the ground first.
You see the damage on the piercing light? I'm starting to see why they try to prioritize the first pick Lucian. 3-0, all the kills in his back pocket. There's so much damage. I see it. I see why. You know, that being said though, let's talk a little bit about itemization, right? Because I don't think they can afford to not run Hourglass. The thing that does catch my attention with PGSU going for that rocket belt means she's so much more vulnerable to being caught out by things like what we just saw, the Camille ultimate, the Galio ultimate, and things like that. And while they did manage to trade back for it, they could have punished them so much more if they had the Hourglass instead of rocket.
Yep, and now the fight ensues once again. Is going to be Fuyu jumping in a little bit awkward right there. Will receive a golden card. That's one of the damage dealers coming up from the Revive that should not be stunned, but yet he will fall as the stun. This is just another game of stuns. Like, I always see someone from Revive trying to engage on top of Yakult. It's always stunned.
I mean, that's how you play League of Legends. That's how you play Wild Rift, right? You have stuns, you have spells, you make sure that the enemy team can't get to your backline. The Corki dies there because look at how the package was used. You dive in all the way into the Raptor side and you try to reposition back your team through the shortest route. The shortest route is not always the safest route, and you got punished for that there. For you, unfortunately, going down is that not only was package not able to find his maximum value, they also end up losing the marksman here, who does want to sail up to keep up with the tempo and the pace with the solution here. Let's see what happens if the Dragon gets started up by Revive.
Yep, and the Revive will be working on this Dragon, looking a little bit of quarter health. Ragnarok will be activated by the Olaf player. The stun doesn't go in. It is going to be a Destiny key finding some pickoffs right here. Heroic entrance would not be able to connect, but it's going to be Yakult securing the Cloud Drake. And look at the damage coming out from Lucian, just chipping, sending members of Revive flying away. Nice bubble there to disengage, but Chibi so fluid. Will be able to dash over the wall, pick up the kill from the side of Revive.
And Yakult comes up ahead once again. Surprise, surprise. time in, time out, Yakult has been able to play out these matchups very well. Like we mentioned earlier, right? Is it not that the teams that go into position first, start playing into the objectives, they're the ones that get squished in and end up losing the fight because they don't necessarily have the space to try and play from. They get put into a corner, and guys like the Olaf just get so much value out of the entire team fight. That fight, I don't think Olaf had that much impact. But I think Olaf was out of the fight. It was everything else but the Olaf.
Yeah, I feel like what Olaf provided against, Revive, Team Revive. Yeah, Revive is the one who sets down the camp, right? They set up all the gun turrets and everything. They're all ready for someone to walk on in. Yakult, that Olaf just like, you know what? I'm not afraid of your turrets. You can try to stun me. You can try to burn all your spells on me because I got the power of Ragnarok. I got the power of the Apocalypse. Just run down to them. And then after, absorbing so much of this, yes, even Olaf's, 036 score, I think the mere presence of Olaf soaking all the utilities from Revive just gave Yakult so much lead in that particular fight.
Going for the Righteous Glory as well instead of something like the Gargoyle Stoneplate, which would make you tankier for sure, but just being by having the Righteous Glory means you're so much more of a threat towards some of these like squishier targets. You have some opportunities to dive in against them, so they have to really watch out for themselves. I had some criticism earlier on and said, who are they really trying to take down, right? Is it going to be the Nami? Is it going to be the Corki? I had a difficult time trying to figure out what that target was going to be because I hadn't expected them to just play damage. If you're going to play damage Olaf, then of course you think it's going to be a target, right? You get Black Cleaver, you have Serrated Duck. I mean, what's happening here? You get to shred through everyone. Even the set at this point is a very reasonable target for you to take down.
Yeah, especially when, Revive, they're not building any form of armor as well. Only the claws starting to build in for the side of the set. Only starting now. I think it's a little bit too late. And now the Twisted Fate will be chaining out the stun against the Camille using the Hex and Ultimatum. And look at that. That Olaf just ignoring the damage or the ultimate coming out from Camille. And that's one big ultimate gone. And now the Twisted Fate forced to use the open up Destiny, thinking about running away. But the Lulu coming back in with the Overgrowth, just knocking the members all the way up. So much stun, and the Crocodile and the back line, the Nami gets shredded by this Crocodile.
And that's a full team ace like clockwork, almost 14 minutes in, just as the Baron is up. What do you have it?
Wow.
Yakult will take down Revive, and this gives them the opportunity to try and pick this one up. Not only that, Rift Herald escorted into the mid lane means they are looking at a inhibitor turret picked up. Well, I mean, yeah, it's an inhibitor turret, but it's no inhibitor as well, so they just get super minions constantly spawning into the mid lane. Only 3 turrets left on the side of Revive at this state of the game. But look at what happens here. No smite. The game is so close. At any point, had anyone walked over, they could have stolen that away. We even saw Genie having to flash away to save her life as the Lulu.
Yeah, man, like it's just basically, you walked up into the bus stop and the bus that you're looking for just arrived. That's basically what just happened for the side of Yakult, right?
Sure.
They killed someone.
Whatever
they
you say.
delivered the payload. I don't know. That's basically what I thought about if I were Yakult, right? And then they just walk over, picks up the Baron for free, and not only just that, the Rift Herald timing was like so impeccable, just cracks open the defenses of Revive. But if you are Revive right now, do you focus on picking up this Drake away from Yakult though?
I don't think you can. I don't think there's anything you can do against if they want to pick up this dragon,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you look at Revive right now, they have a lot of issues that they have to overcome first. And we talked a lot earlier in some earlier series about low economy champions. Unfortunately for them, Revive just don't have low economy champions. And I understand why they decided to go for the red side pick, because they play a lot of really strong meta champions. But those meta champions require a lot of economy to make most effective. You see a fight break out again.
Yep, heroic entrance just tried to knock it all the way up, but it is going to be the Crocodile just dishing out the damage, forced to run away. Olaf was the one who fought this time around, taking a little bit too much, but take a look on the other side of the map. It is going to be this Twisted Fate with this one single mission, with the Baron buff as well, even using the Rocket Belt, stealing away the Nexus from Revive.
And with that, Yakult will take first blood in this series, the first win so far in this best of 3. Very cool,
Yeah, man.
collected, calm. They knew what needed to be done. They played the Olaf composition. That first pick Lucian turned out a lot better than I thought. You know, I will be the first to admit that I was a naysayer, and it turned out perfectly fine. BJSU going for the rocket belt, having a lot of outplay moments, getting distance, being able to dodge away, even in that final Nexus play, right? Dashing towards the back so that she could continue hitting the Nexus. A lot of things that I felt like were risky that were done on Team Yakult, they managed to execute it amazingly well, and they get rewarded for them.
Yeah, I agree with you. Well, I was landing a little bit doubts on Lucian, but I have a big doubt on Twisted Fate. Yes, I sung praises about Twisted Fate earlier just now, but it's a huge gamble. It's either you go big or you go home. And PJ Su is like she's not really focusing on any of these kills, not focusing on these the members of the enemy champions, but just focusing on objective time and time again. You saw once she picks up the Lich Bane, just big damage against the turrets, rapid fire cannon dropping in at the same time, could stun from a far place away. It's just so annoying to deal with, especially in the mid-game part where the Twisted Fate turns online. And you also admire the timing from the Twisted Fate, right? You saw the hero entrance coming up from Kanako already, and Pijisu is like, okay, you know what? You activate the global. I'm gonna activate the global. I'm gonna focus on your very wide open nexus. You won't be there in time to actually defend for it. So it's just pure macro play coming up from Yakult.
And I'm looking forward to see what they have installed in this next round. I think Revive can pick sides again, so they get to decide where they want to try and go for. If they want to continue picking up the set Camille combo, it could work, right? The Galio Camille set are able to dive in map. We saw more where it did work against PGSU, but apart from that, they weren't really able to execute to the conditions that they wanted to find that maximum level of efficiency. So I think with that being said, it's kind of up to them to redesign how they want to play out the game. I think Blue Side might be easier to try and play for if they're able to then grab that first pick and then build the composition around them and force Team Yakult to respond to them instead.
Yeah, and with that said, I think we are going to go into a short break right now. It's going to be very interesting on how Revive is going to have to drop a Team Yakult. I feel like they've got the macro game in their books and they're waiting to strike. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into a short break. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Hello folks, were you waiting long for the games to resume? We're about to lose our producer to other video game titles, so we need to make sure that we get this one underway fast and with some high quality action because his mind is already wandering off. I'm Brandon, with me is Jace. We're taking a look back again at Yakult up against our second team, which I have completely Revive. And Revive have taken away that first one. Oh, was it Yakult has taken away the first one?
It was
taken away the first
Yakult.
one. But Revive has gone back to the red side. They're doubling down. They decide we still want to play that. They want to get the double.
You know, at any point of time in gamerism, you may just come out like, oh, are you interested in getting my are you interested in crypto or something? I feel like that was a sales pitch going in at any point in time right now.
This close, but you know what? It's okay. We don't need that. We don't need that kind of energy in life. I want to see another Galio steal away Baron with Winds of War. That's all. That's it. You know, I'm sold.
Yep, and with that said, I think we're just waiting for the teams to actually enter the lobby because, you know, Revive Me does have a lot of things to prove, right? Because in game number one, yes, they're doing everything right, but I feel like Team Yakult coming in with basically just constantly stunning and just everything that Team Yakult did, especially in the early parts of the game with the Renekton, was done exceptionally well. So the set wasn't able to scale into the later parts of the game, and then it's just, I felt like Revive Me just lost the game from the earlier parts of the game. They allowed the Renekton to scale, and after that, Twisted Fate start getting woken up, and just what happens in game number one.
Easy to play with all reliable. You get the Renektons going the top lane, you get the Baron lane underway, and suddenly the set loses a lot of pressure. You know, pretty gold intensive, pretty gold hungry. When you have the items to hit the set, you have an easy time. But when you don't, you start to face off against a number of issues. So we're going into our drafts pretty soon, taking a look at this one and how this is going to change up. We actually see very similar bans coming through from Team Yakult. They get rid of, again, that Ziggs, that Vayne, the Nunu, and from Revive, they get rid of the Olaf, Jinx, and Camille.
A bit of a switcheroo happening right now, Brandon. Yakult just snap pick the Galio for themselves this time round. Even though I feel like Yakult did a very good job with the Renekton, I think they can allow Revive to just pick it up for themselves. The Pantheon will get locked in by the side of Revive. It could be a flex pick, could be going to the mid or a top or a jungle, but now showing the Katarina card though, definitely going into the mid is eliminated, so Pantheon could still go into the jungle and the top.
Yeah, still a number of options for the Pantheon. So like you mentioned, could go into different lanes at this point. I quite like the Katarina. It actually does pull away a bit from the more traditional meta kind of stuff. But I do feel like there's some level of vulnerability there because Katarina can be quite easily crowd controlled by stuff like the Galio. And now with that Lee Sin, it just continues to exacerbate that issue.
Yeah, and there's so many tools that Yakult has secured themselves. Even before the Katarina was revealed, now with the Lee Sin, that kick will be able to just kick away the Katarina when she goes into Death Lotus stance. The Gallo could just come in with a hero entrance, try to defend. So there's a lot of tools already secured. So Revive Me, if they really want to pull Katarina off, has to be timed very right.
They actually get to also play for a really strong Baron lane side. If they want to go for something like the Renekton with a point-and-click CC, you have a very easy time with the Lee Sin because you get Renekton stun into Lee Sin kick. It's an almost 100% combo kill onto any Baron laner early on into the game before they start getting their armor items. But the problem with that is that a lot of champions will end up getting armor in that Baron lane in the long term. So like I think Revive have correctly identified, you get rid of the Renekton because you don't want to have to deal with that. But then we still see stuff like the Nami Lulu still available for Yakult, whereas Revive have already locked themselves in for this recon.
Yeah, and you talked about the illusion in game number 1 though, and now they're bringing back a marksman that actually went slightly underneath the radar right now. Tristana getting picked up by the side of Team Yakult. Feels like they really love to pick all this underrated radar. It's like, let's make the under the radar marksman great again, that sort of idea. Yakult banning away the Corki, and Revive Me responded with a ban on that Lulu that was a total pain in game number 1 against Team Revive.
So good call to ban away to Lulu, like we mentioned, right? It has a lot of power afforded towards the stuff, things like the Olaf, things like the Lucian. So interestingly enough, not interestingly enough, it's pretty standardly enough, they get rid of that Lulu. But I am curious if this is going to dictate what happens next. If they're going to go for something like the Nami, they've already gone for that Rakan. Yeah, still. So I think there are not that many options left available that can have a good matchup against something like a Draven Rakan potentially, or whatever else they want to try and play for on the bot side. Because there's still Morgana available too if they want.
Yep, I think the Morgana would be absolutely nice, right? You try to stall, try to use the black shield to basically prevent the CCs on top of especially the Katarina that desperately needs to pop off the full Death Lotus. But now they're gonna lock in with a Xin Zhao going into the jungle. This means that Pantheon going to the top side. They're hovering at the Kazakhs right now. I was a little bit happy as well because these are the champions that I play myself and they're getting locked in and I'm pretty excited about it. But it is going to be up to Team Yakult right now, locking in once again the Akali. I shall simp once again in this particular game.
You really enjoy your assassins, sir.
I do. I love assassins.
I think assassins actually have pretty good value in the meta currently as it is, especially paired together with things like the Lee Sin. Have a good chance to really dive in strong. I am a little bit concerned about how tanky they can potentially get, but I don't think it's as much of an issue because Revive are basically in the same boat, right? You only really have the Rakan and the Galio that are able to act tanky. Lee Sin and Pantheon, similar extent, are going to be like pseudo bruisers. What is going to matter a lot, I think, is how well they get information on what Revive try and get done. Because if the Katarina is going to be running towards you, you need to know that in advance so you can prepare your crowd control and not overextend and use that.
Is that a Yasuo 80 Dragon Lane?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so. But it does pair well with the Rakan, not my favorite. There's not a lot of range at all from the side of Revive. All melee, except, well, technically Pantheon with the spear. It's a bit of range with poke, but I don't know. I feel like Team Revive is going to go all in right now.
I think it's gone beyond going all in. They are throwing everything in the kitchen sink at their opponents. They are saying that if we can't kill you, we don't know how we're going to win. So all our problems are solved if your champions die before our champions die. I guess if that's the case, their composition works, right? You have a number of spells that work in crowd control. Even the Sinjao ultimate is a knockback. The Crescent Sweep is a knockback and a knockup technically. So you could get that paired together with the Yasuo, but I'm not sure if that's the most reliable.
Yeah, but I think other than the Yasuo out being into the reason why, Team Revive picked up the Yasuo is like the win wall is definitely going to be annoying for Twisted Fate to land down these cards again and again because of the win wall. And don't forget, Akali relies on the first skill to constantly land down the passive, etc. So I kind of see where they may want to go with this Yasuo. But it's like what you said. I really agree with you. They're just gonna toss all their plates into the kitchen sink. Hopefully, something sticks right now. Whereas on the other hand, Team Yakult, I feel like they have but they have two global ultimates.
Yeah, they have two global ultimates that are gonna give them a lot of space to rotate around. With that being said, Yakult versus Team Revive. These two teams are looking for that spot later on into the competition. They will face off against NSL if they manage to win this series. Yakult only one game away, and they are so close to getting that.
Yep, this is the game where they have to. They should be the team favorites this time out, in my opinion. But we shall see whether Revive will be able to just go all in to try to cheese their way with the Yasuo pick and the Crescent, and of course with the Rakan, maybe the Death Lotus. The constant reset should help against Yakult. There's a lot of damage potential there, but it's all about whether Team Revive gets there.
Bunzy's actually going to walk over to the mid lane to get the jump on the PGSU, and the Ignite taking down low, but the counter gang coming through from Barcode almost takes down Twisted Fate. Popped back up by the Fruits. Trying to walk in onto Bunzy, but a little bit too aggressive, but 4 have been summoned by Revive. The commitment in the mid lane to make sure their support is safe.
Yeah, I mean, that Twisted Fate walks all the way in, very ticking down. That Honey Fruit basically just saved Yakult's first blood away from Revive, right? And you gotta admit, Barcode's, well, this Lee Sin's, I don't know, Spider Sense or Lee Sin Sense is tingling, just walks all the way in at the right time, trying to gang in the mid lane to prevent Revive getting that first blood away from Team Yakult.
Look at what happens here. Level 3 to level 1, they have so much more pressure, so much more tempo to get the Skull Crabs. But watch as is going to go top lane. The Sinjao goes towards the Baron side. We'll try and trade for the Scuttle Crabs there. I don't think the Akali is going to be able to stop them from trying to get there. I'm quite curious how the Akali versus Pantheon matchup is going to go. I don't think that's one we've seen too much of, so I'm unsure how that one plays out.
Yeah, Akali going up as a Pantheon matchup. I feel like the only way, well, I play a lot of Akali, so I can say this. You just have to constantly proc your first skill, goes into Shadow to try to juke away from the stun, and there's a lot of outplay potential with the Shadows, right? The Pantheon tries to stun in, you saw him jumping over, you just quickly tap onto the Shadow, and then suddenly, the Pantheon will just be a little bit confused. Yes, there's an AoE damage that could spread on top of the Akali, but there's a lot of outplay potential. It's all about who hits level 5 first.
Okay, Yakult's actually going to get... It's actually going to 3-buff Revive to start this one off. You can see the Sinjao walking over now, and they've missed out the chance to pick up their own blue buff. I'm not sure if the Lee Sin is actually going to walk over at any point in time to pick this one up for themselves. Otherwise, yeah, actually going to recall first before trying to clear out that top side of the jungle. It's surprising to me that Revive didn't actually try and counter jungle there, so loses out a decent amount of golden EXP in the process. It still looks even for now, but there's nothing to farm for Revive side, so the Sinjao has to try to pick a false gank.
Yep, and for this force gank could be very beneficial, especially towards the top side once this the Akali has already hit level 5, right? So ganking on the top side should be very good because there's a lot of kill potential coming in for the top side already. Whereas at the bottom side, though, I feel like members of Team Revive is focusing to try to take down, try to get like the Dragon Initiative instead. You can see this Lee Sin sneaking all the way up right in position, so as looking a little bit half HP. Honey Fruit just to heal all the way up. Spider Sense tingling. They're ready to strike.
They get the kickoff, they get the kickback on the Pantheon, and it's first blood over the Team Yakult on a successful execution in the Baron lane.
Successful Baron execution in the Baron lane as this Yasuo just picks up another kill, just absolutely free. The shields come out, but that's not enough.
Well, not quite free because he goes down too, so it's a 1-for-1 trade in the mid lane. The response back over from Barcode. Nice dodge away with the Grand Entrance. Rakan gets back to safety, but with the Infernal Drake spawning up in 13 seconds, both teams make their way over, start contesting for this one. Revive actually prioritizing the Rift Herald side could be indication for how they want to view and play this game out.
Yeah, I totally agree, right? They don't really have that pushing power. They don't really have any range. So with the Rift Herald to lead the charge so that they're safely tucked away, let the Rift Herald take the amount of damage. But it's going to be, you know, very good call coming out from Team Revive. Team Yakult focusing on the Inferno Drake. Instead, they will be able to secure that. They just need to push the bottom side quickly to take advantage of the first turret goal.
I think it is kind of. It can be said that the Infernal Drake is the dragon of more value in this circumstance. So they managed to take down the Yasuo. There's so much damage from the residual proc from the Tristana bomb. They do manage to trade back. First turret goes over to Revive, but at the very least they managed to trade back for a turret. So overall, you know, it's not a huge loss, and they should be able to take down this Rift Herald before it travels over the charge onto the second one, unless it does not. Okay. Actually does, thankfully.
Yeah, it was very clutch. Akali is not really well known to defend from the lane. There's a lot of kill potential of this Akali, yes, but Bunzi jumping on top of this Twisted Fate, nothing to be done. The members of Yakult is not ready for any engage, so this is exactly what I was worried about. You want to play the Twisted Fate, yes, just not a lot of mobility until you unlock the Hex Tech Rocket Belt.
I think that could be said for a couple of guys, right? Not just for the Twisted Fate or anything else, like the Galio, the Rakan, maybe even the Akali to some extent. A couple of champions could really benefit from having that Proto Belt, that Rocket Belt. I think the Akali probably could go for like the Hourglass instead, but a few of them do hit a decent spike, and it increases their range tremendously, and changes the way that how they kind of take these fights as well. So we're looking to see when those power spikes happen. The Gallery's already picked up their own, as well as a couple of armor items to deal with some of the damage from the Xinjiang, from the Yasuo, but the Katarina can still shred through quite well here.
Yeah, and you know, you started to talk about the items right here. An interesting note is that the Akali went for the Lich Bane first rather than the Gunblade. Usually, I remember what I once said. Akali, once he picks up the Gunblade, will start to mow down everyone. But understandably, because going up against a Pantheon, you need to be slightly more bruisery. In fact, going straight into the Liandry Torment very, very much soon. The Yasuo picked up a Static Shift. That's one of the key items that he needs. And hopefully, you know, this could change this fight right now.
Yes, you isolated from the team, and isolated from the turret has to flash away with the charm and the quickness chasing after this Twisted Fate. He gets the stun caught back, trade back for some damage with the help of his turret, but the rest of his team is destroying the base, well, not just the base, the outer tier turrets on the side Revive.
Yeah, very good trade coming out from Yakult as well, but the fight's not over yet though.
They've managed to take down the Tristana. Chibi goes down. I think that was just the impact of Suez alone, which is very impressive. So, actually, things are going quite well for Revive here.
Not only just going quite well in terms of the kill lead and the potential. I mean, not just the kill potential, right? It's also about the map dominance they've managed to secure themselves for. Look at the bottom side of Yakult, and the top side pretty much open. I mean, Yakult did almost the same, but you can start to see like the flanks coming in Yasuo has been beneficial against, you know, immobile champions such as the Twisted Fate. So I feel like Team Yakult has to be very careful going in, especially not to lose anyone getting picked off right there, especially with the dragon spawning very, very soon.
Yeah, nice little pick off, and the fact that they managed to take down the Tristana in the mid lane despite all of that happening just kind of reinforces the fact that Revive are looking much stronger in this position. Curious how they want to play this one out, because now they have to kind of worry about a couple of the more vulnerable members. Stuff like guys like the Twisted Fate, like Tristana, have been consistently on the receiving end of a lot of these ganks. So I think BGSU actually has to consider going for that Rocket Belt or for the Hourglass early on. Can't really wait for the Lich Bane. If she does, it's just so greedy. I could see her getting punished a lot here.
Yep, she's gonna double down on actually securing the going towards the Lich Bane right here, but it is gonna be a quick reset coming out from the side of Team Revive. Not much damage done, but a bit of a peel against Team Yakult as the members of Team Revive rotates over to the Drake right now.
They're looking for the dragon. The Cloud Drake is the one that spawns at the same time. Rift Herald on the opposite end of the map. You have to decide which one you want to try and go for. Nice use of the wind becomes lightning, and a 3-man knocked up. The return coming across. The Yasuo gets caught, tagged, but it knocked up at the edge of the rapid spin as they jump back in. Akali with damage, but Pantheon responds back with his own. And the strike back from Revive puts health bars blinking red for Yakult.
Very nice knockup coming out from the side of Team Revive there. That Rakan has been making this draft work. This Yasuo technically acts like a more CC, right? But oh, this just stun up. Barely made it out alive.
Yeah, that was very greedy staying there, and the fact that he managed to survive from both sides, and the win wall to block the gold card, I mean, I don't know how to exactly describe that. Both teams played it out greedily, both teams managed to get out. We actually think I just saw the hourglass completed for GB, so looking to just try and survive where they can. Pantheon ults in with the Grand Skyfall, looking for an opportunity back. The Destiny could give them the angle to jump and wrap back around. The Yasuo has his ultimate, so could pair it together with the Rakan. They dive into the back, steal away the Dragon. Response coming through, and the stun of the wind wall blocks out so much damage coming across, but they sit in line for the wild cards, and the dive back in. The resets from Chibi getting excited, jumping onto the opponents. Kaneko gets stunned up, hit up, and taken down, but the response from Suez, the Pantheon, will at least trade back for one.
Yeah, the wind wall allowing, you know, Team Revive to fight a little bit more, but Team Yakult with the Lee Sin steal, that was so pivotal for the side of Team Yakult. They had the better micro, and they did execute it really well. And you can tell that, you know, Team Revive only lasted as long as until the wind wall starts to expire. Once the wind wall starts expiring, you know, the wild cards start to go through, the stun cards go through, and Team Revive, they need to start to respect this Twisted Fate. Yes, Team Revive has been bullying the Twisted Fate all the way to oblivion around the early game, but he starts to bite back.
Yeah, that time is over. You've done what you could have. You've bullied him out long enough. Now is that time to play the game. You're trying to jump onto buns, but of course you have that easy escape. Trying to jump back, the Crescent Strike, as well as the kickback. A little bit discoordinated there, I think, but either way, wouldn't have been able to get that kill.
Yeah, and you can see, you know, the Crescent Strike used to basically disengage. I really have to agree with Team Revive that there's no way that they are ready for any form of fights right now. Yes, you can see the gold lead. 4K, it's not a little bit, not a very big one, but, you know, we've seen teams that held their ground with 10K gold lead deficit. Yakult with this Twisted Fate start to split push a little bit, putting a lot of invisible pressure on the side lanes, and that's basically what happened in game number 1.
Sure, 10,000 gold might be still playable, but oftentimes you're really just waiting and reacting to what your opponent does. You're unable to take any control of the game anymore. Ideally, Revive don't want to be put in that position. Now they're about halfway to that point, 5,000. But the thing that really matters to me is that they're losing a lot of pressure across the side lanes. Their map is being opened up. The turrets are going down. Their outer turrets all gone. Inner turrets looking to go down soon as well. Gets the kickoff, gets the execute, but he misses the chance for the Sonic Wave and the Resonating Strike combo, but the Galio joins back into the fight. Crescent Strike knocks him back towards his team. But instead, the Katarina still has to play things passively, isn't able to jump back in. The Grand Skyfall to provide support. The full cavalry here as they look to play with the Yasuo. The damage to come across when Chibi jumps in the back line, looking for the reset. The barrier not able to keep them alive enough. Has to go golden, but it's a double kill, but they still end up losing this fight. The Twisted Fate set routed and running away. Akali so far away from this fight.
Yeah, and not only just Akali out of position, right? But you gotta admit and respect the fact that Team Revive, using that wind wall, split the whole fight away from Twisted Fate, just prevents, you know, Twisted Fate to get out of the money shots. But ooh, fights.
Still trying to go back in here. This chance it could potentially take someone down, especially with the execute that they have. So as quite tanky, has a lot of damage up against the Akali. Been dealing with this matchup this entire game. The flashback, looking for the 5-point strike. Gets it, but the damage is a little bit too lacking.
Yeah, the damage is a little bit too lacking because I feel like the Twisted Fate is actually backing off. I feel like Yakult, they don't really want that fight, especially this Twisted Fate, right? But then, you know, the greed coming out from this Akali just keeps going on and on. The Killer Instinct coming in kind of deafens you, kind of like gives you that fake tunnel vision.
Moving in off at Lee Sin here. I'm not sure stepping up like that was the right decision. They actually lose their jungler right before the dragon spawns. A little bit problematic. They definitely want to get back into this one quickly. It would be nice to get the Omni Vamp from this wave.
Yeah, the Omni Vamp would be very helpful, especially for the Akali, right? And also, technically, the Twisted Fate could benefit from that because of the burst damage. But oh, is it Chibi getting caught out?
looking to take down Tristana here to get the Chomp off, and that's the priority target gone. No Guardian Angel, no chance to keep that one alive to get the Chomp back onto the Kali. Ashley tries to dive in with the perfect execution. Flashback in for the Katarina. The Assassin versus Assassin matchup will go in the favor of the Katarina with the final bouncy blades at the end there. No damage left available. None for this team. Yakult tries to teleport back in to get the Lee Sin into this fight. Trying to jump back in with the Sonic Wave, but they have the whole team of Revive collapsed in, clumped up together, and it's too much for Yakult to overcome.
Yeah, taking those key Chibi actually walked in a really awkward spot, getting called out. So very nice catch by the side of Team Revive. Yes, Team Yakult was able to kind of stall the Drake away because of the mistake that the Lee Sin made earlier just now, and now they should be coming back in full force 5v5 at the Drake pit soon.
They're looking to see if they can take this. Interestingly, Revive didn't actually go for it right off the bat. They're trying to position towards the Baron instead. Very curious. I'm not sure if this is because the Rift Herald is trying to siege up to the top side, so they feel if they go that way, they won't be able to respond to the Rift Herald. Pantheon's actually really far away from the fight, so we look for an engage now. Yakult might be able to burst down their priority targets early on. The Sinjao goes down with a second to follow. It's going to be Bunzi. And now the Yasuo, he's looking very low. He's trying to dive after, go after Soas. They have the crowd control the lockdown. The damage from Chibi is enough. They take down the jungler. No more smite available. Means they move on to the Baron for free.
Yeah, that is absolutely very good for Yakult, right? You know, Team Revive, they missed two opportunities right there. One is the Drake, two is the Baron. They're the one that should have this priority, but the pathing coming out from Suez all the way to the top side, thinking, yeah, I should have the ultimate just to TP all the way back into the fight. But no, there's that slow little charge up that you need to do. And Team Yakult were like, you know, I could burst them quicker even before the Pantheon can land. And not only just winning that team fight, right? They also took down the Baron, proceed on to the Ocean Dragon, and it's practically just free real estate for Team Yakult.
Yeah, they just need to go back to base, escort the waves up, look for these turrets now. Because you already opened up such an express path down in the bomb side. That Dragon Lane turret is going to be easy pickings. You grab this inhibitor, and now you open up pressure on the opposite side of the map from the Baron. Revive are going to have to consistently watch out for that, go back to try and deal with the Baron wave. With the Baron and the super minion waves coming in, crashing in at the same time, it's a very tall task to have to watch out for, and a lot of room for error, which could do very well for Yakult. So I like what they're doing now. You grab one person to the bot side, that's going to be the Akali. You get somebody up to the top side, it's going to be PGSU.
Yeah, and that's something very scary, but hold on a second, another fight coming in.
Oh, totally collapsed on the Chibi, but she does have the Hourglass and the Guardian Angel, so she could survive her. Galley ultimately coming in. They force away Revive. They put them into a choke point. They locked into place the double kill and looking at a potential triple, but he gave it back over to Chibi. You play into the pit, you play into the choke points, and you give the power back over to Yakult.
Yeah, and not only just that, right? Because with the Lich Bane and also the Baron buff as well, I feel like Yakult could just actually end this right now.
They definitely will, and on to the Nexus they go. Yakult take this series 2-0 to close this one out and face off against NSL in the competition.
Yeah, GG well played over to the side of Team Yakult, man. Like, literally, they know all these, they know when to actually strike. They know when, you know, Team Revive is not ready for the fight, and they just hammer onto it. I like to point that out one time when, you know, when Team Revive thought that they could get away with the Grand Sky for the ultimate or the Pantheon, they could always reinforce anytime. Team Yakult just bursted members of Team Revive down over and over again, and you can see no matter how, you know, Team Revive try to catch on top of Chibi, the Zhonyas, the barriers, even the Heroics entrance, everything stacked up just to make sure that Chibi stays alive, kicks in, and then just baited Team Revive right into that choke point, and everything is just history, right? Wildcard is definitely going to be landed on top of the members of Team Revive, and that's just it.
That's interesting. No Guardian Angel. So I missaw the animation of the Guardian Angel, I think, on Chibi, unless something changed at the end. I don't think so. So actually, no, that doesn't even need the Guardian Angel. Just had the Hourglass, and that was enough to buy them the time to jump back in on that final moment, to collapse back in onto Revive and win that team fight in really good position as well.
Yeah, and they do have two big globals, right? You know, PJ Su always could just go in from the side and push, and could just always reinforce anytime. Heroic's entrance is always, I feel like, the better global for me because you provide so much shield onto, like Chibi. Chibi could have died right there, right? Chibi should have died right there. Revive is just homering in. They want to take this one down, but heroic entrance literally saved Chibi's life.
Oh, absolutely. That magic shield is so effective against especially stuff like the Katarina with a lot of AoE damage, and then being able to have that knock-up at the same time. They found a lot of value with that Galio, and so a big congratulations over to Team Yakult. They'll face off against NSL in the semis. NSL actually managed to get a 2-0 over the opponents in the quarters as well. So now I'm just more excited to see this new and improved NSL that's not only beat their longtime rivals in Space Gamers, but now also taking a strong win over Roy Ladies, going up against Team Yakult tomorrow. I'm curious how this is going to play out. Tomorrow, we're actually going to have 2 series. We're going to have the first best of 3 that's going to be between Grind Sky Ares and one other team between BGM Ladies and GGTY, the winner of that match. And then we'll also have one best of 5 that will end things off between the winners of our 2 semifinals.
Yeah, so pretty exciting matches going in, even just for day 1, right? That first series earlier just on NSL going up against Space Gamer Calyx. I think that was just the best series in my mind, because not only just that you mentioned NSL beaten their rivals, and now they're like prime all the way into the grand finals for the playoffs in day number 2.
Yeah, and with that being said, that's it for day number 1 of the Wild FSL Wild Rift Open. It's been an amazing set. We got to see some cool things. We were this close to a penta kill, then that would have really made my day. We had a Baron steal, we had a Quadra kill, we had some pretty cool Nexus fight ends. With that being said, that's about it for us here. We still have more matches tomorrow, so sign back in onto the FSL, Twitch, YouTube, wherever you guys want to watch this. I'm Grandin. With me, it has been Jace. So on behalf of the FSL team, producer, observers, everyone that's made this work, all the TOs, and as well as the players, thanks for signing in with us today. We'll see you guys tomorrow.